Hello guys and welcome yourselves back to Peter Games, here today doing the long anticipated £700 PC benchmark video thing, which I really should have given a better name to. But here it is. I mean, I've been saying I'll do this since January and I haven't got round to doing it. I mean, I started doing benchmarks and all, and then it sort of tailed off. And then I've gone back on the grind and I'm getting it done because I said the next video I upload would be this video. So £700 is how much this PC has cost. I mean, if you just look at the parts alone, it costs £683.36. But I mean, I was adding the extra £20, not 2017, for postage and packaging. I mean, you may go over, you may stay under. Who knows? If you have Amazon Prime, you'll get all your shipping for free, so you could be well under. But anyway, as you can see, this footage for the PC and some games. It's a lovely PC. I mean, it's my very own gaming video production PC, which I've been using since November now, and I just love it. It's just so nice to game on and edit. It's just, my life's so much easier with this PC. So you must be like, Peter, what are the specs of this beast PC that you're telling us about? Well, for the CPU, I went with an Intel i5-6500 with the stock cooler because I don't see the point in using any other cooler than the stock cooler. I mean, I'm not going to overclock it. And RAM, I went with 16GB. Of course, Avengers DDR4 2133 MHz RAM. I mean, I was originally going to go with 8 gigs, then a sale came on, so I got the 16 gigs. I mean, I don't know any difference. I mean, I've been using it with 8 gigs, so I don't know if it's helped or not, but it's there. I mean, it keeps me with RAM for a while. Like, I may not need to upgrade at all until, like, I get super mega fast RAM. For the motherboard, I've gone with the Gigabyte GA H110MA Micro ATX LGA 1151 motherboard. Just a basic, cheap motherboard, like one of the cheapest I've found. With USB 3, audio, all that sort of stuff, great Ethernet, HDMI and all, but I mean, I don't care about that because I've got the graphics card for outputs. And just a good motherboard, you know, Micro ATX. Does what I need it to, and it's good at what it does. Right, so for one of the main bits again, for the graphics card, I've gone with Gigabyte GTX 1060 6GB. This is the cheapest 1060 6GB I could find, basically. I mean, yes, some others have faster clock speeds and all, but I didn't care. It's a 1060. I can overclock it if I want. Then I can get those faster clock speeds. But I mean, it's been good so far. I mean, it runs games as well, as you'll see in a minute, and it's really nice. It looks cool. I mean, when I first took it out of the box, I was like, I'm actually doing this. I'm building a PC. And I just love it. It's a good graphics card. Does great. Okay, for storage, I have a 1TB Western Digital Blue hard drive. It's a great little hard drive. I mean, I've used it now, and it's for the 4 months, and it's fast. It's fine. Like, everyone's like, get an SSD to boot. I mean, I wanted to save some money, so I didn't bother getting an SSD. I mean, if you wanted to get an SSD for this, you could go down to 8GB of RAM and buy an SSD of that money, or just fork out like the extra 40 quid for an SSD. I mean, I didn't, but you could. Onto the case, we have a Phoenix Neos ATX mid-tower case with a windowed side panel. I mean, it's a cheap case. You can currently find it for £36, not including postage and packaging. But I mean, it does what it does. It looks good what it does. It filters, side panel. I mean, it's not tempered glass or anything, but it looks good. I don't really see my PC often. It's sort of hid under a desk, so I didn't care how nice the case looked, as long as it does the job, and it does exactly that. I mean, it's got power, it's got reset, it's got mic and headphone. USB 3, USB 2 on the front. I mean, I didn't need much more. I mean, the motherboard, I picked that motherboard because it's got like 6 USB slots, 2 USB 3s. I had all the USBs I really needed, so I didn't care about that. This is a great little case though, which I love, and does the job fine. Comes with an extra fan, which I didn't realise. So I had a spare fan. I mean, I couldn't plug it into my motherboard, but I had a spare fan, so that was good and all that. I mean, you could only buy another individual fan then if you needed for the 3 fans, or you couldn't. I mean, you really should, but you didn't need. For the power supply, I've got an aero-cooled integrated 500-watt power supply. Now, all of the parts except this you can find on the parts list in the link description on UK Part Picker, or it's uk.pc Part Picker. Except this, because it wasn't up on PC Part Picker. The only place I found this was on Amazon for £33, so I'll leave a link for that in the description. So don't buy the power. Well, you could buy the power supply on PC Part Picker. I mean, it's just a random one I found on there, and it won't be that price. So you can use that one if you want. I mean, I don't know, I've not tried it or anything, but it looks pretty decent. So you can do that. And I bought an extra pack of fans for this. I bought 2 blue LED 120 something Corsa fans. I can't remember, but yeah, they do great. They're quite quiet. They're quiet editions, so they're very silent, and they do what I need them to do. They're just great. The fans, and I had to buy a little fan extender. Like, it splits into 3. I'll try and put that in the link description as well, but I might have lost the link to that. It's just you plug it into one fan socket and it makes 3 like plugs available for it. Because the motherboard only comes with the one fan socket, case fan like plug, so I need to split it into 3. But that's like £2, so it don't really affect the price. So that brings us to about 700, just under 700 issued. I mean, with posting and packaging, you could go over it unless you have like Amazon Prime, which you can get free shipping them. Okay, most like, Peter, I know the parts and all, but I don't care. Just what are the benchmarks of a £700 gaming PC that you built yourself? So, first of all, I did Firestrike. You know, I mean, don't need to say much more than that. And it scored 9,547. It's Firestrike, I mean, what more can you say than that? Then I also just did Time Spy. And got 3,831. I mean, some people will understand how good that is, some people will understand how bad it is. You know, it's just, some people won't understand at all. Just if you know them, there you go. Okay, next up we got a test which I don't see many people do because of course I built my PC for video editing, recording, all that. So of course I went and put I made sure I had a decent quad. I made sure I had a quad core CPU. That was like my thing. I wanted a quad core CPU. So this next one is a render test because of course some of you may be wanting to make a YouTube video like using your PCs and stuff. So you might want to know how it does rendering, because if you're buying this PC and then suddenly it takes like 3 hours to edit a 10-minute video, you're not going to be using your PC as much as you might want to. So what I've done for this is I've rendered some footage of a Peter Games Minecraft video, and I've cut it down to exactly 20 minutes, just as like a rough thing, so you can say 20 minutes will be this, exactly. So for the render I've used Premiere Pro because that is my main editor, so this is a video which has actually been up on the channel, so it's all editable. The footage was recorded using OBS Studio for my webcam, which was at 720p 30fps. I had a 1080p 60fps or gameplay recording using Fraps, and then I also had my mic audio just as a separate layer. Okay, so this was of course edited to make Minecraft 1.11 Hardcore Survival with Ryan Episode 1. You can go see it if you want to. And I used the Premiere Pro YouTube 1080p preset, and it's at 60fps. So I left it to render. I had my capture card recording on the screen, and it took 37 minutes 19 seconds, which I don't consider too bad, as my old PC would take about an hour to do the same at 30fps. So I mean, you can't really say much more. Okay, so first up in the gaming benchmarks, we have the legendary game known by all as Assassin's Creed Rogue. I mean, I know this is a last game gen, so well, I mean, first of all, it highlights a good thing about bad PC ports, which just like gets to me. But mostly of all, it's just because you might want to play all the games, see what they're like and all that. And I'm running short on games I can test, because I mean I'm like skin. You might be seeing this glam footage and be like, oh Peter, this looks alright. I mean, but how does it perform? So now, as you'll see here on screen, I got a maximum FPS of 63, a minimum of 0, and an average of 60. Now, most of you who know about like PC performance be like, Peter, this game should run at more than 60 FPS as it is a last gen game. Well, this is why it's a bad PC port, because of course consoles will not really go above 30 on a game like this, especially last gen ones. So on PC they decide to cap the FPS at 60 FPS. Like, why are they doing this? This PC could easily hand it above 60 FPS, probably 144 FPS. At least if you had a 144, that's more there. So why does it give us a choice to cap at 60? Well, it doesn't give us a choice. You have to cap at 60 FPS. I don't know why. This is something they've done, and it's just weird. It's like, why? Is it just so that the console versions don't look as bad in comparison, even though they only run at 30? Like, it's still a massive difference, so why? But either way, this game runs fine. It looks great. I mean, it's on Ultra. I don't need to say more than that. It's a last gen game. It looks great. It runs fine. The the minimum of 0. I think that's just a weird glitch, but it's great, and it's quite a fun game, really, just to sail around and also have fun. it's a fun game to play. I would suggest, if you can, buying it for like however much you can find it for in a Steam sale, but it's good. You know, you should really enjoy it, play it. Okay, so now we're moving on to a benchmark which will actually tax the system, you know, and you're not going to reach the capped FPS. Which is, of course, Witcher 3. Now, this is Game of the Year in 2015, I think. And it is a fun game. I played like several hours of it, and I enjoy it. Combat system's great. I mean, it's another one I'd suggest you pick up. So for the benchmarks, I put the game on these settings on the screen here, and I'm calling it sort of high. And of course, it's no VSync and no frame cap outs. I mean, it wouldn't go higher than 70 FPS, which is my monitor's refresh rate. So I played a game mission from about 4 hours in, and I recorded this footage you're seeing now on my capture card, which isn't very good because it's not the best capture card. But don't worry, at the end I'll have some shadow play footage just to show you how good this game does look on the PC. The game runs smoothly and does look beautiful while doing so. It is a great looking game. I mean, I can't emphasise that enough. So the results were a minimum of 22, a maximum 489, which I think is wrong, and an average of 66 FPS. Now, 22, I feel like that was during a loading scene, because that's the only time I've seen it drop. Because when I've been testing the game to make sure I've got the best settings for me, it's mainly been around the 65, and with the drops to 40 at a max. So that 22 is unrealistic because it wasn't the most taxing of things the PC could be doing. But when the game drops to 40, if you're normally playing, you hardly notice it. You wouldn't. So this is perfect for a 60 FPS monitor because you're not going to really adventure too far below the 60 FPS, and it's just not going to rocket high. I mean, I have 75 Hz, so I can take the best advantage of that sort of extra 5 FPS, but it's not going to make that much difference. And it's just a great game, and I really suggest that you play it. Now on to the biggest anticipated game of 2016, and one that I really enjoy and done here on the channel, Battlefield 1. I mean, this is quite common in benchmarks now, Battlefield 1, because everyone wants to see how it performs. Because it is such a beautiful game. I mean, I don't need to say that. No matter what setting you have on, this game just looks beautiful. So for these benchmarks, I put the settings on the high preset, using DirectX 11, because DirectX 12 doesn't support fraps for some reason, unless I've got something wrong, but DirectX 11. And I played one round of Conquest on Cyan Desert. Now, this isn't the most taxing map, so the benchmarks show that. So I did the same capture card for the footage I'm showing you now, and then later I'll have some shadow play footage, so you can see how beautiful this looks. So the benchmarks show a minimum of 74 FPS, a maximum of 76, and an average of 74. Now, these are good benchmarks. They're great benchmarks. However, on the smaller maps like Amiens or Argonne Forest, it'll drop to about 60, that's sort of where you want to leave it, or it'll go around to about the low 50s. But I mean, it's still great and it's smooth, and I love playing this game just so much. Just a quick side note about Battlefield 1. This is not the best game to record on this PC, because Battlefield 1 obviously is very CPU intensive, so that's the one bottleneck with the system with Battlefield 1. The CPU is maxed out. So if you do anything like recording or something, it will drastically affect the frame rate because the CPU is just having a fit. So that's just something to keep in mind if you want to record Battlefield 1 and having a bit of trouble, because I've had that trouble. And now most of you are probably thinking, Peter, these benchmarks are good, taxing the system. But what about us other gamers who are wondering, can it run Minecraft, Peter? And wait, whoa. Before you all click away from the video thinking I'm going insane, I am taking this seriously. So for this, I didn't actually run any benchmarks using fraps. You can just see it in the top left corner of all this footage now. So I put the render distance up to the max, 32 chunks, everything else as high as it could go, and the game ran about 200 FPS. I mean, I did explode some TNT, as you can see here, and it dropped to 20 for a second and shot straight back up. So the game runs Minecraft lovely. But I am taking this seriously. And you can do a lot more to make Minecraft a bit more taxing on your system. For example, you could add a texture pack. So I dropped in Sphax BDcraft 256 texture pack, which is quite high. I never normally play with texture packs that's high. I presume other people don't really either. So I put that in, and the game stays at about 150 to 160 FPS still, and it's very smooth. I mean, it was hard to tell with all the screen tearing going on because, of course, I was higher than my monitor's refresh rate, but it still looks lovely. Now, 150 FPS is still quite high. So I still wanted to take it a step further, and one way you can do that is by modding in shaders, which, for those of you who don't know, as you can see here, just make the game look lovely, the water looks beautiful, all of that. It's just a lovely experience. And while using these, the game run between 40 to 60 FPS, which, as you can see, the system's pretty taxed at this point. You wouldn't want to do it any higher. Now, this texture I'm using here is quite or shadow I'm using here is quite an intensive one, but you can get less and all that. But see, Minecraft can bring a system to its knees if done properly. And just to double check this, as you can see, I went into the Nether and I achieved about the same FPS, so you can expect this on all the other settings I've just shown. Now finally, this isn't so much a benchmark, because this game isn't released yet. And I'm obviously talking about Ghost Recon Wildlands, or I'm saying it's not released yet. When I did these benchmarks, it wasn't, and I haven't bought the full version yet. But this is just something I wanted to throw in there and just sort of show like another open world game compared to Witcher. So I haven't actually got any benchmark results physically because I forgot to benchmark it before the open beta ended. But basically, on the high settings, the game will stay at 60 FPS with occasional drops to 50 on really, really intensive stuff. And this footage you're seeing here is shadow play footage from a peaktage that I was going to do, but I didn't get enough footage. But that's just a rough example. I mean, occasionally you get game stutters in game, and I'm just going to put that down to you right now, that it's because it's like early development, they haven't optimised everything. And so you should expect better performance. I mean, probably now you can see other benchmarks, but this is all I had to work off. So in conclusion, this PC is a great 1080p gaming machine, and also video production machine, because you can play some games whilst recording. Well, most of them. You can just got to find those less intensive softwares like Shadow Play, and you can record, and it's great. It can handle anything. Editing, it breeze. It's lovely. I mean, personally, this computer is just like brilliant for me. I mean, from my old one, editing was horrible, and now this one, editing's just a dream because everything's so smooth. It runs lovely. I mean, you could maybe like save a few things on the parts list. Like you might be able to reduce money in some way if you was going ultra budget. But I mean, I love this PC right now. I mean, you could improve like the CPU if you wanted. I mean, that seems to be a bottleneck in a couple of games, but that's completely up to you. If you are going to build one, I would suggest like looking at this as like sort of your template and customizing it to your own personal needs. Thank you for watching, guys, in this new unique video. I mean, I doubt I'll ever do many of these because they require me building a new PC each time, which means I would have to be made of money. So you could expect one maybe at some point if I ever build a brand new PC again. But if you liked it, go ahead and click the like button. If you want to see more just of me or even my face because it's not in this video, you can go to the channel link and watch all my other videos, and even subscribe if you want. You know, that's the thing you can do. So thank you for watching, guys, and until next time, good fortune and goodbye.